When now Sarpedon his brave friends beheld grovelling in dust, and gasping on the field, with this reproach his flying host he warms. O stain to honour, O disgrace to arms, forsake inglorious the contended plain. This hand unaided shall the war sustain. The task be mine this hero's strength to try, who mows whole troops and makes an army fly. He spake, and speaking, leaps from off the car. Patroclus lights, and sternly waits the war, as well when two vultures on the mountain's height stoop with resounding pinions to the fight. They cuff, they tear, they raise a screaming cry. The desert echoes, and the rocks reply. The warriors thus opposed in arms engage with equal clamours and with equal rage. Jove viewed the combat, whose event foreseen he thus bespoke his sister and his queen. The hour draws on, the destinies ordain, my godlike son shall press the Phrygian plain. Already on the verge of death he stands, his life is owed to fierce Patroclus' hands. What passions in a parent's breast debate? Say, shall I snatch him from impending fate and send him safe to Lycia, distant far from all the dangers and toils of war? Or to his doom my bravest offspring yield, and fatten with celestial blood the field? Then thus the goddess with radiant eyes, What words are these, O sovereign of the skies? Short is the date prescribed to mortal man. Shall Jove for one extend the narrow span whose bounds were fixed before his race begun? How many sons of gods foredoomed to death before proud Ilion must resign their breath? Were thine exempt? Debate would rise above, and murmuring powers condemn their partial Jove. Give the bold chief a glorious fate in fight, and when the ascending soul has winged her flight, let sleep and death convey by thy command the breathless body to his native land. His friends and people to his future praise a marble tomb and pyramid shall raise, and lasting honors to his ashes give. His fame, 'tis all the dead can have, shall live. She said. The cloud compeller, overcome, assents to fate, and ratifies the doom. Then touched with grief, the weeping heavens distilled a shower of blood o'er all the fatal field. The god, his eyes averting from the plain, laments his son, predestined to be slain. Far from the Lycian shores, his happy native reign. Now met in arms, the combatants appear. Each heaved the shield, and poised the lifted spear. From strong Patroclus' hand the javelin fled, and past the groin of valiant Thrasymed. The nerves unbraced no more his bulk sustain. He falls, and falling bites the bloody plain. Two sounding darts the Lycian leader threw. The first aloof with erring fury flew. The next transpierced Achilles' mortal steed, the generous Pedasus of Theban breed. Fixed in the shoulder's joint, he reeled around, rolled in the bloody dust, and pawed the slippery ground. His sudden fall the entangled harness broke. Each axle crackled, and the chariot shook, when bold Automedon, to disengage the starting coursers and restrain their rage, divides the traces with his sword, and free the encumbered chariot from the dying steed. The rest move on, obedient to the rein. The car rolls slowly o'er the dusty plain. The towering chiefs to fiercer fight advance, and first Sarpedon whirled his weighty lance, which o'er the warrior's shoulder took its course, and spent in empty air its dying force. Not so Patroclus' never erring dart. Aimed at his breast, it pierced a mortal part, where the strong fibres bind the solid heart. Then, as the mountain oak, or poplar tall, or pine, fit mast for some great admiral, nods to the axe, till with a groaning sound it sinks and spreads its honours on the ground. Thus fell the king, and laid on earth supine. Before his chariot stretched his form divine. He grasped the dust disdained with streaming gore, and pale in death lay groaning on the shore. So lies a bull beneath the lion's paws, while the grim savage grinds with foamy jaws the trembling limbs, and sucks the smoking blood. Deep groans and hollow roars rebellow through the wood. Then to the leader of the Lycian band the dying chief addressed his last command. Glaucus, be bold. Thy task be first to dare the glorious dangers of destructive war, to lead my troops to combat at their head, incite the living and supply the dead. Tell them, I charged them with my latest breath, not unrevenged to bear Sarpedon's death. What grief, what shame must Glaucus undergo if these spoiled arms adorn a Grecian foe? Then as a friend and as a warrior fight, defend my body, conquering my right, that, taught by great examples, all may try like thee to vanquish, or like me to die. He ceased. The fates suppressed his laboring breath, and his eyes darkened with the shades of death. The insulting victor with disdain bestrode the prostrate prince, and on his bosom trod. Then drew the weapon from the panting heart, the reeking fibers clinging to the dart. From the wide wound gushed out a stream of blood, and the soul issued in the purple flood. His flying steeds the Myrmidons detain, unguided now, their mighty master slain. All impotent of aid, transfixed with grief, unhappy Glaucus heard the dying chief. His painful arm, yet useless with the smart inflicted late by Teucer's deadly dart, supported on his better hand he stayed. To Phoebus then, 'twas all he could, he prayed. All-seeing monarch, whether Lycia's coast or sacred Ilion, thy bright presence boast, powerful alike to ease the wretch's smart, O hear me, God of every healing art. Lo, stiff with clotted blood and pierced with pain that thrills my arm and shoots through every vein, I stand unable to sustain the spear and sigh at distance from the glorious war. Lo, in the dust is great Sarpedon laid, nor Jove vouchsafed his hapless offspring aid. But thou, O God of health, thy succor lend to guard the relics of my slaughtered friend. For thou, though distant, canst restore my might to head my Lycians and support the fight. Apollo heard, and suppliant as he stood, his heavenly hand restrained the flux of blood. He drew the dolors from the wounded part, and breathed the spirit in his rising heart. Renewed by art divine, the hero stands, and owns the assistance of immortal hands. First to the fight his native troops he warms, then loudly calls on Troy's vindictive arms. With ample strides he stalks from place to place, now fires Agenor, now Polydamas. Aeneas next, and Hector he accosts, inflaming thus the rage of all their hosts. What thought, regardless chief, thy breast employ? O, too forgetful of the friends of Troy, these generous friends who, from their country far, breathe their brave souls out in another's war. See, where in dust the great Sarpedon lies, in action valiant and in counsel wise, who guarded right and kept his people free, to all his Lycians lost, and lost to thee. Stretched by Patroclus' arm on yonder plains, O save from hostile rage his loved remains. Ah, let not Greece his conquered trophies boast, nor on his course revenge her heroes lost. He spoke. Each leader in his grief partook, Troy at the loss, through all her legions shook. Transfixed with deep regret, they view overthrown at once his country's pillar and their own, a chief who led to Troy's beleaguered wall a host of heroes and outshined them all.